we don't get a chance to tell you about full-length ballets being live streamed often enough. So I am very happy to be telling you about Teatro Colon down in Argentina's full-length production of the Bayadère, which is happening and being live streamed Saturday, December 28th, 8 p.m. Argentine time. That's midnight in Europe. It's worth staying up for. 6 o'clock in the evening on the East Coast, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast. They're a couple hours ahead of the U.S. West Coast and only 4 hours behind Europe. And that will be 10 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, down under in Australia. It's worth getting up for, folks. The Bayadère, the first time I saw the Bayadère, it was in France. I'm pretty sure it was in Paris. And it was Maria Pietragala who was dancing. And she was dancing like a goddess. It wasn't, and she also choreographed it. It was early on after she'd left the Paris and then the Maurice Béjart group down in Marseille. She was just, it took my breath away, the swirl of it. And it's one of these kind of majestic kind of ballets with a lot of people in it. Now, it's choreographed by Mario Galizzi. That's the guy you see his picture there in the upper right hand corner. But as I talk about each one of these, I want to give you, I want to give each of them their own their image for you to focus on. That's Galizzi himself. Okay, Mario Galizzi. And it said it will be based on the originals, though, by Marius Petipa, which raises a question. I'll bring that up in a minute. But this is a 3-act ballet created in St. Petersburg in 1877. It's kind of a Russian version of a romanticized ideal of what Indian culture was like at that time. It's Marius Petipa, who created it, was a superstar of his time, although he started out in poverty. He went from nothing to being a superstar, kind of very modern kind of story. But that kind of thing happened. The same thing happened with Mascagni, who won a contest and suddenly became a superstar of opera. He was known for colossal special effects on stage and all of that. He's also known for his operas being keyed or provoked or related to major public events, things like an exploratory trip to the North Pole, or this particular ballet was inspired by a visit by the Prince of Wales of England to the British Dominion, part of the British Empire, India, and it triggered his interest in doing it. It's an opera all about love triumphing over all. I'm sorry, a ballet all about love triumphing over all. Surprising theme for a 19th century ballet or opera. Anyway, the Bayadère was a dancer, a dancer in sacred rituals in the Hindu temple. And there's a Bayadère whose name is Nikia, and she and a warrior, Solor, are in love with each other. And they swear their eternal, faithfulness to each other. But there's a Brahmin who's also in love with Nikia, and he finds out about it. So he wants to start interfering with it and setting things up so it doesn't happen. I can't give you all the details. And there's a Raja, and the Raja has already decided that Solor, this warrior, is going to marry the Raja's daughter, Gamzati. So you've got 3 key people in this: Nikia, Solor, and Gamzati. And I'm going to tell you about the different people who perform them. But the one question I have is that it's said that Mario Galizzi is going to base the choreography on the original choreography. Now, in the original, there was this scene where 36 dancers, one after another, enter the stage, like coming down this slope. And one by one, they reproduced the exact same sequence of steps, one after the other. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it does happen, and you're watching it, I told you about it. And if you've seen it and it doesn't happen, you'll know I warned you. It might not be in there. Okay, so let's talk about these different people. Let's talk about Mario Galizzi. He started out training as a dancer at the Teatro Colon. A lot of the people involved in this, they are homegrown at the Teatro Colon in Buenos Aires. He was a member of various ballet companies, also in Europe at the Deutsche Oper am Rhein, and he was a principal. He was the first soloist with the ballet of the operas of Hanover and Frankfurt. So we got European polish. Came back over to the Americas. Became a guest teacher in choreography in Peru, in Jamaica, in Paraguay, in Chile, basically all over the place. Has directed operas for the Finnish National Opera, the Nashville Ballet Company in the U.S., the Deutsche Oper in Am Rhein in Germany, and he's been the artistic director of the Teatro Colon. He was the director of the National Dance Company of Mexico for 2 or 3 years in the mid-teens. Was the resident choreographer at the Mercosur Ballet. And so he's been around. This is a very experienced guy, so he should know what he's doing with this. And this is not the first time around the block. This is a part of the repertoire of this ballet. So I think they're going to know what they're doing. Now, let's talk about the different dancers. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you about dancers, The thing people don't realize is Access Arts Live is not just about music, although a lot of the time we're talking about it. It's about all the performing arts. So we want to see more ballet. We want to see more theater. We want to see more artistic circus, etc. It's about all of them. So anyway, let's have a look here. I have a separate photo that I started out with of her doing. I mean, don't you just love it when you see these dances? It's like they're floating in the air. It's like, wow. Those of you who are real opera or ballet aficionados may find my comments somewhat amateur. They are. I'm not an expert in the ballet. And part of Access Arts Live's purpose is to start, attracting more people to these live streams, people who might, they don't know the ballet. So I want to talk to people from where I am and where they are. Anyway, so this is Camilla Bocca. And she started out getting her training in Santa Fe, but then she was in Lausanne, and she studied in Barcelona, and then in 2016 she joined the Teatro Colon, and the following year she was promoted to soloist dancer, which is also true of the other dancer in this. So she's dancing the lead role of Nikia, and she's done leading roles all along for this ballet and Sleeping Beauty, Swan Lake, The Merry Widow, The Nutcracker, Romeo and Juliet, it's La Sylphide, Cinderella, Giselle, you name it. Okay, so that's who you're going to get, a very experienced top dancer in that key role of Nikia. Now, the lucky guy who's being, is in love with one woman, being set up with another woman, is Federico Fernandez. He's in the role of Solo. And here's Federico in a very similar pose to that of Camilla, and he's been the principal dancer at the Teatro Colon since 2012. Been around a little longer. He also has formed his own group, the Buenos Aires Ballet, and he tours the country and the region with that group, also bringing in guest artists. And his repertoire is all of the classical and neoclassical repertoire. The leading roles in Macmillan's Manon, John Crankle's Onegin, Anna Maria Holmes's Le Corsaire, Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, The Nutcracker, etc. So a veteran will do a good job. And then finally, in the role of Gamzati, this is Ayelene Sanchez. And she studied and learned her craft at the Teatro Colon school itself. Graduated in 2005, and then moved on to other places. Ended up coming back to the Teatro Colon in 2010, 5 years later, and was made a soloist in 2017, the same year as Camilla Bocca. And she has danced. She's been in things like Molaioli's Giselle, Pierre Lacatte's Le Sylphide, Mario Galizzi's Swan Lake, and Nuriev's The Nutcracker. So I think you've got a good core of experienced dancers here with a top choreographer with lots of international experience. I mean, I don't know. Could you ask for more? Well, yes. But I think this is a great full-length live production, and it's free of charge. I hope you're as happy as I am that we have a ballet. We will cut out this section of this live stream and recirculate it tomorrow, specifically to those groups on Facebook we know of that are dedicated to dance and to ballet, so that you get another reminder tomorrow. And I'm just really happy that we have, I love all the music we have, but I'm also happy that we have some of one of the other major performing arts this weekend.